While you're here to tell me what to do. Should we start without him? He's here. He's got to be here, right? Did you see him yet?
Yeah, he's here. There it is.
As it is now 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for May 28th with a roll call vote. Please.
Commissioner Evans. Here. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Saborn.
Present.
Commissioner Swoboda.
Here.
Commissioner Straker.
Here.
Commissioner Weber. Here. Chairman Grunt.
Here. First order of business is approval of the minutes from the special meeting of 4/30/26. Comments, corrections, edits? Hearing none. Do we have a
So moved.
movement?
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Abstain.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Swoboda.
Abstain.
Commissioner Straker.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber, yes. Chairman Grunt.
Yes. For those of you who have not ever been with us before, this portion of the meeting is called public comment, and it concerns anything that's not on tonight's agenda. So if you got any beefs with the village or comments or wonderful things to say about the village not reflected on tonight's agenda, this is the time to do it. Commissioners first.
Nothing.
None? Public? None? Off we go. Any old business? No old business? Okay. We appreciate the turnout tonight. We have a full docket, so we do appreciate your patience. We are pretty efficient up here. We try to get things done quickly and efficiently, but we do tend to go over everything pretty closely. So we appreciate your patience. So with that said, the first item of business today is public hearing for PZC Case number 2602, a request for variations from 62.75 bulk, yard, and space requirements to allow a front yard setback of 12.9 rather than 25 feet and 62-450 extensions, expansions, enlargements, intensity at 4125 Deo Avenue. As this case is a request for a variation, it triggers a public hearing. I'd like to open a motion to open that public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Swoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straker.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grunt.
Aye. As this is a public hearing, anybody that's going to testify on this particular case, I need you to stand up and raise your right hand. Whether you're the petitioner or anybody from the public that wants to comment on this case, please stand up, raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. I state your name. Testify that swear that the testimony I'm about to give
Testify that the statement or the testimony that I'm about to give
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth.
and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Sir, the floor is yours, so please come to the mic. You're first. Again, state your name and address, and we'll listen.
Yeah, so Juan Jacobo, Rockford resident, 4125 Deo Avenue, Brookfield, Illinois, 60510. Requesting a variance of front variance for enlargement of an existing porch that is collapsing. So the project is to tear it down and rebuild it. so everything's been, not okay, because the variance is not complete, but majority of the details have been reviewed by the inspectors and review team members, so at this point, it's just, kind of alleviating the variance so we could proceed with, correcting and constructing a new porch in front of our home.
Questions of the petitioner?
Can you talk through the porch's design, how it looks different potentially than the one that currently stands, and if that would be counted as a livable space within the home, or if it's a front porch instead?
Yes, do you have the pictures of the current, so currently today it is a boulder porch, so it's one of the few in Brookfield. It's an open concept with a, stairway going to the side, about 2 feet away from the actual property line of our neighbor. Part of this porch, it's collapsing. It's actually, the stones are coming apart. They're kind of put together with some mortar. So we're gonna be taking that down and actually reinforcing it by enclosing, and it will be livable space. It will add some livable space. We are extending about 3 feet on each side to widen it, and also stairs will be coming directly to the front of the home versus to the side to allow for a better flow and livable space for, construction.
So fully enclosed porch then?
Fully enclosed porch, correct, according with a new foundation, slab foundation and windows, doors, insulation, electrical.
Thank you.
Other questions of the petitioner at this point?
One.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that the existing porch is dilapidated. Did a structural engineer and architect review that and provide an assessment?
Architect did review it, so they did make renderings of the, and they did recommend, and also, general contractor is here, and based on, just feedback, it is collapsing, it would not be feasible to try to correct that. It would just cost more money and potentially cause damage to the existing home, so.
That's all.
The only question I have is, it's my understanding that you're not extending the face of the porch as it currently sits. Because I think the setback is now 12.9 feet, and it's gonna remain 12.9 feet.
You mean the front? Of the
Yes, the front of the porch.
The front of the porch is staying, the only thing that's extending out is gonna be the
Stairs,
that-
right,
that go
okay.
towards the front, but the front is staying at where it's at.
Got it.
It's just going to its side.
Yep.
That we're expanding.
Other questions of the petitioner at this point? All right, staff will give their report, and then we'll reserve any other further questions based on staff report that we may have for you, sir.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
All right, Scott or Libby, you're next.
Okay, I will be succinct. Of course, here's the survey. Shows the house, the large side yard on the south. Of course, there's the front of the house is zone day one, everything around it is zone day one. And I don't know, well, of course, this was in your packet, but this is showing the new enclosure on the front of the house. When they applied for a building permit, it was called a porch, and we looked at it and said, nah, it's basically livable space. We're gonna call it a room addition. Semantics perhaps, but as you said, Mr. Chairman, the 12.9 setback is where the front porch ends. Currently, the difference encroachment into the yard is the current steps go off to the side, as he said, and these steps, which are permitted obstructions in the front yard, go out the front. So floor plans, elevation. We do have, well, here, I'll go back to this guy here. These were photos that were in your packet that showing some of the deterioration of the existing stone porch. I'm not an expert, but they do have those. And we had a conversation about other front setbacks on the street. You did get a public comment from someone down the block. But these show, I don't know that you can read all these. They show basically all the setbacks of historic houses on this on this block, cut in two, of course, it averages between 17 and 18 feet. If you add in the new house that's under construction, that's set back at 25, thereabouts, it ups at the 18 feet. I would note that the objecting house is at about, I don't want to get that wrong. I think it's at 12 feet as well. I have a picture of it, and I measured it. So it's about 12 feet too. It's down at the other end of the block, but that was the one objection we've gotten to date on this property. So in your packet, you saw the petitioner's justification under the code for the variation request, and we think he met the burden on that, and I recommend approval of the variation.
So I just, again, for my clarification, I think I read this, and then I also heard you say that the new stairs are a permitted exception in the front yard? Yes, okay. And then I'll read, I think it's appropriate now, I'll read it now from Kathy D., who is at 4157 Deo, Jeff and Kathy Duncan, where residents of Deo, on Deo Avenue do not approve this reduction in the front yard setback to put an addition on the front of the house. And you said you checked this one, Scott, and it's about the same setback as what this petitioner is seeking? Okay. Sorry. Questions of staff at this point?
On the site plan, I don't see a connecting walkway from the parkway to the stair. Is one required? So at the base of the stair.
Are you asking from the sidewalk to the stairs or
Correct,
from the?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially from the property line, which I believe is where the public sidewalk is.
You want to include that as a requirement, not shown on the plan, but the concrete
condition.
sidewalk from the porch to the city sidewalk?
Well, I guess, is it required? It's an interesting question. I'm not sure either. We can ask the petitioner.
The city I live in, it is required.
Yeah, okay,
That might be determined in the permitting, during the permitting process.
that's true. Comfortable with that? Any other questions of staff at this point? Petitioner, can you ask that question for us? Do you intend to put a sidewalk from the stairs out to the Parkway sidewalk?
Yes.
All right, so we can make that a condition then if you want. Any other questions of the staff or petitioner at this point?
No.
Okay. Public comment on this case, I didn't see anybody stand up to be sworn in, so I assume there's none. No public comments. I will now entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open up for discussion to commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Commissioner Sayborn?
Aye.
Commissioner Swoboda?
Aye.
Commissioner Straka?
Aye.
Commissioner Weber? Aye. Chairman Grunch?
Aye. I'll start today. You know, this is one of the more unique properties in Brookfield. We've all been around town enough to know there's probably a handful of houses like this. I've seen others that have completely fallen apart and rebuilt. So I do understand the difficulty in rebuilding the porch that's there. One of the things we speak to about back from the days of Pat Benjamin, you know, is we don't have any design standards for this type of project at all in the village. And frankly, the new porch is not gonna look as good as the existing porch. And there's not much we can do about that. I mean, this is a cost-efficient solution. It's just not as unique as what's there. So, but I understand the difficulty in trying to rebuild what's there. So, that's it.
Right, and I think Scott said it at the beginning. I mean, this probably falls closer under a home addition than it does a porch. But with that being said, you know, we need to find in a congested community creative ways to find space in our homes that doesn't impact people. Oftentimes we see these cases come before us and there is impact on immediate adjacent neighbors. In this sense, they're moving forward in what is already existing. And so it's a solution. While I agree it will not look the same and it will not probably look better, I think that there is merit in what the petitioners brought forward and approving that, especially knowing that the stairs are a permitted obstruction and gives easier access to the property. I also think that the cost effectiveness of trying to rebuild that porch is probably well beyond what's necessary with the materials that are posed here. So be in favor of approving, but I do lean on the side where Scott had said this looks more like a home addition than a porch.
Other comments?
I share Commissioner Grun's sentiment, and I think that Commissioner Evans encapsulated all the elements why we should proceed with this forward.
Anything else? Any other discussions before we entertain a motion? Okay, Todd?
So I recommend approval of case number 26-02 for variation from 62-75 bulk yard and space requirements to allow front yard setback of 12.9 feet rather than 25, and section 62-450 extensions, expansions, enlargements, intensity at 4125 Deo Avenue with the following conditions. A connecting walkway from the base of the new stair to the public walkway.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Sayborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straight.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Again, I was remiss. We are an advisory body, so our vote is taken under consideration by the village board. The village board has the final say. Your case then will be presented before that village board on, put Libby on the spot every time, June 8th. So, all the best and good luck. Moving right along. Second case is a public hearing for PZC case number 2605, a request for variations from 62-26.8 required setbacks, section 62-289 to allow stacked parking spaces, and section 62.405 extensions, expansions, enlargements, intensity to allow an increase in the nonconformity of a nonconforming structure at 8905 Plainfield Avenue. This case is a request for a variation which triggers a public hearing, so I'll entertain a motion to open that public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Sayborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straight.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Again, like the last case, petitioner and any public that wants to testify in this particular case, please stand up, raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. I state your name.
I, Louis Arzon,
Swear the testimony I am about to give
swear the testimony I'm about to give
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Okay, petitioner first, please again come to the mic, state your name and address, and we'll listen.
Hi, good evening. Lou Arzon, resident of Elmhurst. I am here today to talk about the property located at 8905 Plainfield Avenue. It is a 4-unit apartment building with 8 bedrooms. Village code requires 8 parking spaces for the structure. At the moment, it has 6 usable spaces. Being situated on Plainfield where there is no street parking, it creates a little bit of a challenge. This request is requesting 2 additional parking spaces, approximately 14 by 16, or 224 square feet. And appreciate staff's recommendation of support for this, and kindly ask for your support as well.
Questions of the petitioner at this point?
So the stacked parking spaces would be assigned to specific units and only be used by the residents of those
Correct.
units?
So the current spaces that are there right now, the stack space would be assigned to each of the respective unit holders.
Can you give a definition of stacked parking?
Stacked, tandem, single file, 2 vehicles in line.
Okay. So one blocks the other one
Correct.
in.
So they would have to be from the same apartment.
And your application was brought in on your behalf, or was it due to a reason? Like, were you repaving or trying to expand the parking lot, and this was brought to your attention?
No,
Okay.
I'm just trying to bring the property to code and compliance. It requires 8 spaces, I'm at 6.
Okay.
And it's a hardship for my tenants who come, they have to park all the way on Prairie, which, you know, when they have to haul groceries, it's a bit of an inconvenience. So, again, just trying to do right by my tenants and trying to do right by the code and ordinance.
I think you said the parking spaces were 14 by 16? Is that,
It
so
is.
8 feet wide, 14 feet deep?
In expansion, correct.
Okay. And you'll understand why I asked that question later, so, thank you. Any other questions of petitioner? Okay, staff is next, and then public will have an opportunity to comment on petitioner or staff.
Oh, sorry. About a 9,100 square foot lot. As he said, it's got a 4-unit apartment building on it, has 6 spaces. He'd like to meet the code and have 8. The non-conforming well, the whole block is non-conforming almost. So, you know, the building's non-conforming, the parking lot structure is non-conforming because it's in the front yard where it can't be, it's in the side yard where it can't be, you know, all of those things. So that's why the 450 section, 62-450 comes in. And of course, to Commissioner Miller's question, you know, the code prohibits stacked parking or stadium parking bumper to bumper. And the only way to get more parking on this property without going in the front yard on the opposite side of the pedestrian access is to go back further into the rear yard. What else I got here? So, this, you know, this is pretty pictures. He did provide explanation to these items in your review, if I'm not mistaken, and we think he met the burden of proof on those and recommend approval. Trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
Questions of staff at this point?
I take it the property still will meet green space requirements.
Yes, I think it does.
Was a ratio reduction discussed at all? As opposed to having 2, 1.5, or 1 even?
No.
All right, I have a question for staff before public comment. I was curious about the green space and was surprised to see in this district that green space is not required, interestingly enough. But in my perusal of that, I came to the section of parking space size. And again, this is a unique situation, but in all cases, it says the stall width has to be 8.5 feet wide. And then a 90-degree spot, which I'm saying is probably as close to this as possible, is 18 feet deep.
Yeah, we need to add a couple feet in
Right.
there.
So when you add up 2 together, we don't get either. And when you continue that section, at the end of it, it says, considerations of variations from the terms of these dimensions is not permitted. So even if the petitioner went for a variation for size, it's not permitted. So I think we can continue the discussion, but I kind of surprised we got this far. Let staff respond first.
You're making notes. So I think we have to try to just massage the plan a little bit and make sure we get the 8.5 wide, so forth.
I kind of looked at it, I don't see how you can do it, to get the 8.5 feet and the 19, and the 18 feet deep depth.
I think there's 2 feet, there's 2 additional feet on the, I'll call it the northeast side, to the property line. And then there's, of course, there's a lot of room on the other side there. On the southeast side, the harder part might be the width, and bumping it out 1/2 foot each. Well, 1 foot each. So you've already got quite a bit of room on the northeast side there.
Well, it would seem to me that unless we follow our code, which is, that's what our job is, that unless you get them 8.5 feet wide and 18 feet deep, because the code says variations aren't
Sure.
acceptable.
You can make the condition that these spaces be 8.5 by 18, and then make it work.
Okay.
Trust me.
Any other questions to staff?
If green space isn't, isn't a requirement, you could rework, and again, it's a cost, I understand, but you have the ability to rework a lot of that parking lot in many different ways, rather than stacked, rather than closer to adjoining properties. And there's very few times I think I've heard that there is no variance allowed through the code.
I was kind of surprised myself, so. Other questions to staff at this point? All right, I'll open it up to public comment. Please come to the mic, state your name and address, and we'll listen.
Hi, my name is Ann Janicek.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
My name is Ann Janicek, and my home address is 4037 Prairie. I own the property at 8912 Plainfield, and my daughter lives there. And the townhomes that we have there, the townhome that we have there, and because she's a relative, she can occupy that. I forgot my phone, just check my notes, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Is the microphone on?
I don't know.
It's always pretty quiet.
Yeah. Scott, can you check the microphone, please? Thanks.
Was that it? Oh, I didn't know if you were checking it.
We're not sure your microphone is on,
Oh, I'm
so.
sorry, I'm not very loud.
No, it's okay.
I sing?
That's better.
Better.
Thank you.
Okay.
There we go.
As I said, we have a variety of concerns. We were looking at the request for board action, and we were going through it, and the property's supposed to be a 4-unit rental building, and my daughter was telling me about how they've watched them renovate and put the basement apartment in. So part of our concern is the 4-unit building is really going to be a 5-unit building, and then we'll have, instead of 8 parking lot spaces, 10. Because if you can look at the 6 usable parking spaces, the 4 that are closer to the ground, and then you have the 3. Currently, the garbage container, it sits in between where it's green right now, and then there's another parking space right under the usable that goes along the side. So currently, they use those 8 parking spaces now. So our concern is that if you go ahead and say, yes, 8 is fine, all of a sudden we have, because of the additional unit, we're gonna have more people. And our property is literally right across the street from that. So we'll be seeing a whole lot more of traffic lights coming in and out of the unit. The next thing, I have paperwork for you, and just to show where we got our information from. In the paperwork, when you look at that, my daughter gave me the apartments.com list that shows the new unit that is being rented as of July. So our concern is adding that additional unit. It's going to add more cars into that parking space. And then the previous owner, when they had the property, I numbered the parking spaces on that so you could see how they typically parked. And on the page that says previous owner, you can see where the dumpster is. We underlined it with red. I don't know if it came through well on your copies. And you can see the pad is there. So there's also a space for the dumpster, and that's how it's been handled in the past. Apparently, they're changing how they want to work it, which that's their thing. All we want to know is about the parking. And also, when the property was sold, it was listed on the redfin.com app, and you can see that it says that it is 8 spaces. And that's on the page after it says previous owners. So we're just concerned. We don't want to cause harm to our neighbors or anything else, but we're very concerned about the additional issues that it's going to cause us. And my daughter sent me a picture about an hour ago, and she showed me basically that they're using all 8 of the spaces this evening. I can always send you a copy, but I couldn't go to the library to make copies and send it to you. That's it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No?
Thank you.
May I have an opportunity to respond?
You do. It's your turn.
Perfect. So a couple of things. She mentioned the 8 parking spaces that are in there. She's referencing a space at the apex of this parking lot, which prohibits the vehicle in front of it. So you notice there, up there, at the apex of it, that's the 8th space that she's referring to. It's not practical to negotiate a vehicle around that space. It's just not practical. The vehicle that she took a picture of an hour ago, that was me when I was going ahead and doing a little home improvement project there. The current Groot space that's there right now, the reason why we've had to relocate it is because Groot did not have access when it was previously in this little spot that was right here. So there were multiple times where Groot would come, they couldn't have access to it because the vehicle was in that parking space and they had no way of accessing the container. So that's why we've located it into the area where you see on the parking space.
Is it a 4-unit building or a 5-unit building?
It's a 4-unit building.
So what's going on with the basement? That was noted.
Yeah, no comment.
Scott, has there been permits pulled for any renovations, any additions within the building of additional units?
They haven't come to my desk, so.
We have.
For additional units?
No. We've done electrical, we've put windows in, we've pulled permits for all of those.
Of course. I think the question at hand is that would have been permitted differently, right? If you were putting in another unit within the property,
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I would imagine he would allow us to inspect.
especially if it was the
Yeah.
basement.
So the unit that's down there, was there when I purchased the property. The only thing that I made, we just made cosmetic updates to downstairs. It was there when we bought it.
So that's
So-
one of the 4. The basement is one of the 4 units.
No, the basement is an in-law apartment.
So it is an apartment.
It's an in-law.
Is it currently occupied?
It's not currently occupied.
But it's being marketed.
It's being marketed, yes.
May I
Thank
ask
you.
staff, I'm so sorry,
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, please.
is a basement in-law apartment legally allowed in this building?
We're good. No, I would say no. I mean, the, by definition, an in-law apartment is, tied to another unit. It wouldn't be separate.
And it would require
depending
2
on
more
the-
parking spaces.
Depending on the basement, well, the architects on the commission know better than I do, depending on the ceiling height and how far underground half the basement is that a livable space or not? Egress, out of bedroom windows and so forth, so we'd have to go back and inspect all that.
So for the petitioner then, understanding that you're under oath,
Sure.
you've applied for a variance based on 4 apartments in this building, though
Correct.
you've said that there are 5.
I'm not a lawyer, ma'am, so it's a 5th unit. It's
I'm not
it's
a
an
lawyer
in-law
either.
apartment. Yeah.
But I can count.
Pardon?
I'm not a lawyer either, but I can count.
Sure. I mean, it's a legal 4-unit building.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the petitioner at this point? The staff, any other further comment based on what they've heard just now?
Perhaps two things, the parking variation is not necessarily for the number of parking spaces, it's for the design of those parking spaces. So whether it be 4 or 5 may not be the issue relative to adding the parking. The building, be it at 4 or 5, is currently non-conforming as you know, we need 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit. So, up until a few minutes ago, staff was under the impression it was a 4-unit building, and what a good thing. We're going from, 1 point whatever spaces to 2 per unit, what the code requires, so that's a good thing. Let's make this work. Of course, if there's a additional 5th unit in the lowest level, and then there'd be 10 required, and we'd still be short 2. And I think we have to
That-
look at that. I mean, as I said a minute ago, I'm sure he'd let us inspect the basement unit, and we could see if it's viable or not. But it's not necessarily part and parcel to this request for additional parking. That makes sense?
It does.
I don't want to say it's apples and oranges, but it's not 100% meshed.
Other questions of staff at this point?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Where am I? Now I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open the discussion to commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Swoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber. Aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Who'd like to start?
At the very least, I think a continuance would be needed so that staff could work with the petitioner with what was brought to light today, whether apples or oranges or not, it makes no difference. If it's a 5-unit, it's in non-conformance, and I think that we need to get a better understanding of the use of the property before we make any decisions on this property.
I agree. I also have a concern about what the chairman had mentioned earlier about the required size of the parking space, and that there's no variation allowed. I'm wondering if that is because that might be part of a transportation document that, you know, a code, transportation code that might be used to determine the appropriate size of parking spaces.
Other comments?
I concur with both of my fellow commissioners' comments.
Anything else? You want to do the motion for continuance? I think have consensus there, yes?
Move to make a motion to continue case 2605, request for variations from 62.6268 required setbacks to allow parking in the side and rear yard, and section 62.289 to allow stacked parking spaces, and section 62.450 extensions, expansions, enlargements, intensity to allow an increase in the nonconformities of a nonconforming structure at 8905 Plainfield Avenue.
Second.
Could we please specify that it's to the next meeting? I think we have to specify a date if we're continuing.
You do need a date certain, yes, ma'am.
To the next meeting,
Thank you.
June 25th.
You need to, okay. Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Good luck. You'll work with staff and hopefully come up with a solution that we find acceptable. Off we go. Number 3. Public hearing case, PZC case number 26-06, request for variations from section 62-75 bulk yard and space requirements and 62-453 to allow an increase in the minimum building coverage from 35% to 40.5%, and reduce the minimum required green space from 40% to 35.3% to allow an existing non-conforming garage in an existing A single-family district at 3306 Sunnyside Avenue. As this case is a request for a variance, it triggers a public hearing, and I'd like to entertain a motion to open said hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Will the applicant please come forward and be sworn in, or I'll swear in the applicant and any other public members that would like to testify in this case. Please raise your right hand and I will swear you in. I state your name. Swear the testimony I am about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Petitioner, you're first. When you come to the mic, again, please state your name and address, and we'll hear what you have to say.
Hi, I'm Paul Delbenzio. This is my wife Kim Delbenzio, 3306 Sunnyside in Brookfield. We have a existing non-conforming one-car garage in our backyard that is very old and has fallen into pretty much a state of disrepair. It needs to get replaced. We have 2 daughters, one 16 about to get her driver's license, another 13 not far behind. So replacing it with a 2-car garage would be beneficial, not just for us, but probably also for our neighbors to alleviate street parking in the front of our house. As I said, it's a non-conforming garage, so even if we were to build a garage onto our current footprint, it would still not fall within the zoning requirements. So we would need a variance for any garage, and as I said, a 2-car garage would be beneficial for our current situation.
Questions of the petitioner at this point? All right, we ask you to have a seat. We'll turn it over to staff, and then we'll have public comment. Scott, the floor is yours.
Floor is mine. As he said, it's a existing non-conforming lot, existing non-conforming building coverage, minimum green space requirement. as it exists with a one-car garage. They came in to look for a permit. We said, well, you know, you got a problem here. And so there was conversation about, well, we'd really like a two-car garage. But as he said, it goes up to round numbers 40%. When you do the math, you know, 40% sounds bad. You do the math, it's like 100 square feet. You know, the building coverage goes up 109 square feet, I think it is, from what it is now, from the code. And then, yeah, I'm looking at my notes here. One-car garage is 37.6, two-car garage is 40.5, and that, you know, a little over 100 feet additional. And currently, it's 38.2, it goes down to 35 on the green space. So we're a little short on both. This, of course, is the house, everything's zoned A around there. It's a classic bungalow, the garage is in the back. And there's the existing floor plan, site plan, and they just want to expand it a little bit. Here's the garage, we want the downspouts to go to the backyard, not the alley as always. And they submitted reasons why, and we recommend approval.
Questions of staff? I have my standard question. So I'm gonna go about this a different way. If we approve this, we would waive the requirement to have any other accessory buildings, including a shed, on the property. Is that correct?
The code says if you add to the garage the 100 square feet, I'm gonna paraphrase now, do this from memory. If you add like a 3 season rooms at the garage or storage to the garage, you sign away the ability to have a storage shed.
Right.
But not if you have a two-car garage.
Oh. That's interesting. Didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
So they could add a 100 square foot shed. I think that's the,
Well,
Unless-
then they'd have to come in for another variation that
Right.
have more building coverage
Okay.
and less green space.
because the way I was, so under their existing situation, they can't add a 100 square foot shed if they just lived with the one car garage, or they could?
No, if they came in for a shed, and presumably we would say, oh, let's look at the green space. And then we'd say, sorry, Kim and Paul, you can't have this shed because you're over the building coverage.
Okay, got it.
Because they're already.
Yep, they're already over. Yeah, okay. Any other questions, staff?
Are there similar situations on that same block, do you know? Is this a common?
We've had similar situations before the commission.
Mhm.
I frankly went down the alley, now I don't remember. I didn't take pictures down the block in the
Mhm.
alley, so I don't recall.
But the lot widths, are they pretty consistent
I
on that
believe
block,
so.
do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, as the petitioner said,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
talk about
okay,
the
thanks.
on-street parking issues in town. And so getting a car off the street into the garage would be beneficial.
Other questions of staff at this point? All right, I'll open up the public comment. Please come to the mic, state your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Phyllis Castle. I live at 3329 Oak, so I'm alley neighbors with the Del Benzios. Here to, I guess, recommend that you approve this. The kind of particular pickle, I think, that makes it weird is they need approval even to replace the same footprint that they have right now. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. And then certainly, the issue of street parking. So getting another car off the street, having a regular two-car garage like the rest of the properties makes a lot of sense. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions of staff, commissioners at this point? All right, now I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open up discussion to the commissioners.
So moved.
Second. Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Commissioner Sayborn?
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda?
Aye.
Commissioner Straka?
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Okay, our turn.
I'm in favor of the request due to the substandard lot size of 30 feet.
So am I.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yep.
And looking at, to Commissioner Miller's point, on the map, you can see that this is house after house having the same non-conforming lot, and they're improving their space. It makes sense that while they do that, they consider this new, more appropriate use. I'd be in favor of that use.
I don't want to use the word precedent because somebody up on this dais will be mad at me, but we've allowed similar variances in the past, and it's all been about this 4 or 5%, reduction. So I think in keeping with that, I'm in favor as well.
Make a motion to approve.
Go right ahead, sir.
I'll entertain a motion at this time to recommend approval of the variation from 62-453 requested under Planning and Zoning Commission Case 26-06 to allow an increase in the minimum building coverage from 35 to 40.5% and reduce the minimum required green space from 40% to 35.3% to allow an existing non-conforming garage in an existing A single-family district at 3306 Sunnyside Avenue, subject to the following condition. The property shall be developed in substantial compliance with plans prepared by Blue Sky Builders dated 12/23/25, submitted with the application. Gutter downspouts shall be directed towards the private property rather than into the public alley.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Good luck, petitioner. You'll be in front of the board June 8th, if I remember that correctly. Good luck. Case 404. Public hearing for planning and zoning, case number 2607, a request for a special use permit, section 62-25, to allow cannabis dispensary at 9500 Ogden Avenue, the northwest corner of Ogden and Dubois Avenues. This case is a request for special use, which triggers a public hearing. I'd like to entertain a motion to open said hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. So again, petitioner and any member of the public that would like to talk on this case, I need you to stand up and be sworn in. Please raise your right hand. And again, anybody that wants to comment, let me know, don't make me do this twice, please. So, please state your name. I swear the testimony I'm about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Petitioner, the floor is yours, and it is good to see you again.
Yes, everybody, thank you. It's nice to see you again. I'm
Name-
back. My name
Name
is.
and address, please.
Yes, my name is Tanya Griffin. This is relevant to 9500 Ogden. That's the address you wanted, not my personal address. My personal address.
Well, your work address.
My work address is in Denver, Colorado. It is 190 9th Street, Denver, Colorado.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. You guys have talked to me before, so I'm going to get right into it. Again, my name is Tanya Griffin. My company is Water and Trees. We've gone over this before. I've built in the last 12 years, 15 years, a number of successful dispensaries in the state of Illinois. I raise my kids, my daughter-in-law. I raise my children in LaGrange and Western Springs, and my children and grandchildren now live on the south side of Brookfield, just a couple blocks from 9500 Ogden. And since the early days of the medical cannabis program, I have wanted to come to Brookfield and build a dispensary in Brookfield. And when you passed the ordinance in 2019 to allow medical and adult use cannabis dispensaries here in Brookfield, I was eager to come be a part of this community. Get to the important stuff, which is we've been working super closely with village staff. They've been incredibly helpful to move this project forward. As you guys know, you previously approved at the planning and zoning stage to potentially locate a dispensary on 31st Street. I don't think the community wanted it there as much, obviously, so we came back to village staff and tried to figure out how do we move forward, and together we really came to the conclusion that improving this building at 9500 and the subsequent parcel at 9508 Ogden would be a great improvement to the community. And then we put our heads together, worked on it. We hired, oh, sorry guys, oh my goodness, Libby, what is happening? Can you help me get that? That'll work. Since that, in the last couple of months that we've been working on this project, we've engaged an architect, 1919 architect. They've been around about 50 years, Ron Billy. And I'll tell you what we're proposing or hoping to do at 9500. The building as it exists, I think, is about 8 office buildings. It's falling down. We would want to keep the existing structure. We'd want to raise the roof about 10 feet, put an entirely new facade on the building. The building is roughly about 2,700 square feet. We would not change the size of the building. We would only want to make it structurally and cosmetically better as you come into Brookfield. The parking lot also needs a lot of work. Libby has asked and said that we need a good deal of beautiful landscaping, which we agree. So we have a landscaper too, that's part of his architectural firm that would come in and really make this whole area a lot better. We would be putting 18 parking spots into the building, so it would kind of butt up to Imperial Brewery right there. So it would be the two of us kind of looking at each other. These next slides I kind of went over with you before. It's very similar to what we were going to do at on 31st Street on the dispensary there. This is not a big building, and if you understand, the state of Illinois is created a highly regulated environment for dispensaries. Obviously, no one under 21 can even come into the building. The facade of the building would be completely redone. The signage understated. This is not going to be screaming cannabis by any sense. That is not how I build dispensaries. But just kind of the flow, as you might remember from the last dispensary, you come into a reception area. That is a public access area, so you can come into that space. You're ID'd. Everything is on video camera. The entire parking lot is going to be very well lit and under 24/7 surveillance. We tap into the Illinois State Police with that surveillance, and then every inch of the inside of this building is under 24/7 surveillance, and we hold that footage. So the way the dispensaries work is you come into a small reception area, your IDs are checked by a receptionist, and then you are buzzed into a limited access area, which is the shop floor that you see there. There's no cannabis products out on the floor. If there's any packaging or what appears to be cannabis products out on the floor, they're all empty boxes. The only place that we keep regulated cannabis is in the vault, which I can show you on the next slide, but this is probably a more fun slide, is in the vault. There are pass-through windows that come from the vault basically to the POS solution, and those cabinets there are all secured and locked, and there are product in those cabinets that the bud tenders or the sales associates can access as they're communicating with customers trying to buy this. Brookfield's important to me. LaGrange is important to me. These communities are important to me. So my intention here is to build a dispensary that is really working with the community. It's small. 65% of our orders, if you look at the industry in Illinois, are online. So a good deal of this ordering process is actually done online, and the dispensary is also just sort of a pickup place. So there's no hanging around a dispensary. We would not allow any loitering at this dispensary. This is really about coming and getting medical or adult use cannabis products and going home and using those products. You can't use the products in the dispensary by any means. We don't allow you to use them, sitting in your car. That's not what this is about by any means. If you're curious, this is what the entire layout of the dispensary looks like. The black there, those are this is our vaults. The way we build our vaults is they're completely encapsulated with steel. So you can't come in through the roof. Everything is secured, everything under surveillance, everything is key coded, and even to move around between the public, limited, and restricted access areas is all key coded. So everything is pretty, it's obviously far more secure than any of the banks in town. We're pretty secure here in these dispensaries. So the parking lot was important, and I worked closely with Scott on the parking lot. We're not changing any of the egress or anything like that, but we are creating parking. We're repaving, obviously, repainting the parking lot. But there's parking spaces alongside the building. There's some handicap parking. And then when you get into moving into the space, the parcel of land that includes 9508, that's all parking. We're gonna put landscaping. We're still working with the architect to do some of that design, but the intention here is to make this building a focal point, not necessarily a focal point, but an attractive building as you enter Brookfield on Ogden. I don't think I should go over that. This may or may not be important, but we are going to be given considerable tax dollars to the community of Brookfield. Very conservative projections, which we are in the habit of doing. If we were able to get this dispensary open, pushing up into late November, maybe December, and could take advantage of 2027, we would be showing, roughly about $151,000 first year in taxes. That could indeed be a very conservative estimate. The neighboring dispensary, the closest one to here, does about $1 million a month, and we projected a considerable lower number than our neighbor dispensary. One of the unique things, and that's not a picture, it's just something I said, I want to talk about the Laws family really quickly because they are my clients. I have so much respect for them, and we did go through this process here in Brookfield with the Laws family. Unfortunately, I need to go to another community to help them open a dispensary. They were a social equity client. They were spending essentially their own money to open this dispensary. This is not an inexpensive venture. The group that I'll tell you about that's coming in to get behind this redevelopment project, which is not only 9500 Ogden, but of course, we're working closely with Libby to develop all around Congress Park. So we would like to do some pretty serious financial investment into the village of Brookfield. The group that's behind this now is the top craft grower in the state of Illinois. The advantage to that for the community of Brookfield and for having a dispensary here is we will now be vertically integrated. So what that means is the flour and the pre-rolls and the cartridges and the gummies, at least a portion of those sold in this dispensary will be coming from the individuals that own this dispensary and own this land. The value of that is that we're going to create a very different model of dispensary than you see really everywhere in Illinois. In Illinois, if you ever go into a dispensary, it's driven in this state by heavy almost bait and switch discounts, right? So you're getting BOGO deals, and there's a sale on Wednesday, and then that moves to Thursday. Because we produce the product, our intention is to have everyday low prices, so that we are known as a place where you don't have to stop what you're doing on a Wednesday to get your gummies. Every day those gummies are a consistently low price, and we think that's an advantage to Brookfield, certainly the community here, to get good priced, high quality product, but perhaps the neighboring communities who unfortunately do not have their own dispensary. Obviously LaGrange, Burr Ridge, Oak Park, Hinsdale, Western Springs, LaGrange Park, none of those communities have access to medical cannabis. Oh, is that it? Okay, we're done.
Questions of the petitioner at this point?
Can you tell me a little bit about your east elevation that faces Bois Avenue?
You mean in terms of the appearance?
How it looks and...
Yeah, the plan would be to raise the roof, which is kind of falling down right now. So remove the roof, raise the roof 8 to 10 feet, depending on structural engineer. We haven't done the MEPs yet, the structural engineering, but that would be the plan. And then currently, what's going on in that building is you have, I think, 8 doors. It's 8 or 10 little office buildings is what's happening there, and it's falling apart inside. So we would keep the existing brick, but I think what the architect and the engineers are going back and forth is creating a very nice facade that either paints the bricks or goes along the bricks. We would be covering those doors. I mean, we would be sealing those doors. So currently what you're seeing on Bois is probably 4 doors and some windows and some dilapidated brick, and we would improve that significantly. That's what those homes would see on the backside.
Because
a wall, basically, I think is what you're asking.
Basically, what I had seen in your plans is that the facade is basically going to be one solid wall.
Right.
And I understand that there are some security concerns when it comes to the operation of a dispensary. But I'm just wondering if your architect could come up with some ideas on incorporating some spandrel glass to
yes.
at least make the elevation that faces Bois look like there is some, windows rather than just a solid brick wall along Bois.
We would prefer that. So the answer is 100% yes. Right, Joe? Absolutely. So if we could indeed put that thick, nice glass, towards the middle of the building, and we would work with you guys with the village to make sure it's. Our intention is to really make this building look outstanding and very premium and high end. The idea that we could put glass once you get past the reception, so that it would be tinted somewhat, because we don't want full visibility in, so slightly tinted, but we would love to do that. The answer is yes to that.
It's because that whole wall with no
Right, I totally agree.
fenestration would
Yeah,
not be very appealing.
I 100% agree.
Is it possible to put that?
Oh, yes.
That rendering back up?
Absolutely.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
But that's what faces west, right?
Right, that's faces west. So I share Steve's concern. I don't know if were you finished?
Yes.
Okay, because for me, right now, and again, this is a special use to allow cannabis dispensary.
Yes.
So we're pontificating here,
Right.
because we really
We're
don't have
designing the
anything to
building.
say
We
about,
agree.
because we don't have an architecture review committee in this town. But anyway, I saw this and thought, wow, they activated the southwest side, and that's it. The rest of the building right now looks pretty ordinary, frankly.
Oh, I could
So
do so
the-
much better, and
Well,
will.
and again, my initial reaction was, why isn't Ogden activated and Bois activated? Take that party and carry it all around the corner. Now, again,
Oh, we can-
I understand that there's limits on what you can do and signage and all that good stuff. But right now, in my mind, if I was you, when you're coming east on Ogden, you're not gonna see it.
I just
Because
think
this
we
is
needed
kinda
you on
tucked
our
away around the
team.
corner. So I share Steve's concern. And when you look at the side elevation, that doesn't look like brick to me. I don't know what it is.
It's, you know what it is, sir, it is a rendering before the architects dug in,
Okay.
is the truth
And
of
that's
the
fair.
matter. So I agree with you. I think what we really will end up doing, we really kind of have a bit of a blank check to get this done. So the intention is to really make this building the focal point of the dispensary, and that it attracts people because it's a really nice building. You are absolutely right. The fact that we're not creating a high facade coming, that is coming west is a mistake, and we will do that. And it really, Joe and I have not fully sat down with the architects because we wanted to get through this meeting first. We have engaged the architect, but we haven't had that meeting where we bring back to Scott and Libby those plans. But 100%, really the big lift here right now is to make sure the building is structurally sound. We have not had an inspection yet on the building. Make sure it's structurally sound, make sure that is all fixed. Gut it, because everything is falling down inside. So get everything out of it. We know we need to raise the roof, but I 100% agree that we have left westbound traffic out, and that's a mistake. We'll fix that, for sure.
We've made, some discussions about this in the past where, I think that before we would want to make a recommendation to the village board, we'd want to see for ourselves what is actually going to be proposed so that when we forward a recommendation to the village board, we fully support what is being proposed rather than being told right now that they're going to satisfy the staff. I think that we should see what these elevations are going to look like before we make any kind of recommendation.
Are we allowed to do that?
I hate to say it this way, the draft ordinance says yes. The current ordinance doesn't say that. The architecture is not specifically required. We ask for it, like these drawings or renders we have, and you'll recall there's special uses for the dog grooming people and things. We get design development floor plans similar to what we have here, but the current ordinance does not have what we'll call site plan approval as part of the special use review.
But the updated, but not
When we get
approved
when we get the new one in,
ordinance does
God
not-
willing, in a
does,
couple
yes,
months,
okay.
yes, that's fair game.
But is the commission allowed to ask that of the petitioner, if they'd be willing to come back and offer that information?
Yeah.
I'm told we're scheduled this to the board for the 8th of June, so, the village as property owners are joined at the hip with this petitioner. And unlike the apartment building, I have been in this building.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's our building, we own it.
Correct, and I think we're jumping a bit out of order, but this property is owned by the village. The village has every right to transfer it in the image that they wish, and I would say that as it stands and the village looks at that, something needs to change, and I know you agree with
We
that.
totally
And
agree.
if the village were to say that is what goes there, I would be shocked that that would be the building that would sit on that. I'd be very disappointed.
And I think I can answer part of
Yeah.
that. So this is a pretty complex project that has multiple levels. So this is only before you for the special use permit for the retail portion of it. There is a separate developer that we've had preliminary discussions with, conditioned on whether this special use is approved.
Correct.
Preliminary discussions will then turn into final discussions for a redevelopment agreement that will then go through all the paces with the board as far as all the design and any other conditions that the board or the village has for this for the building, the roof, the landscaping, the full redevelopment part of it, because this is part of a TIF. So we also have the procedural parts of it that we need to do for bidding and so forth. So, as
So
Tanya
you're saying
indicated.
that those are, I'm sorry to interrupt, you're saying those are tied potentially right now?
Yes, all of that will be flushed out in the redevelopment agreement, certainly. So this is just the preliminary part for the special use permit.
Would it come back to us at any point, or no? Once we're done with the special use, then,
No, it would not.
okay.
And if I might add, if these are so intricately tied together. If indeed we understood that we wanted full drawings at this point, because one is so tied to the other, we would have given you a beautiful building. This was simply to get through this step, because the next meeting is about, tying the property to the dispensary in this entire redevelopment project that we're working on. So nothing that you're seeing there is to make everybody comfortable. I agree with you. Nothing that you're seeing there is representative of what this building will be. The main tenets of what you're seeing about the building is we're gonna make drastic improvements, including raising the roof. It's so low, it's about 10 feet. It's very, very low. We have engaged the architects. So I think the more important thing to talk about, perhaps to make everybody comfortable is, I think that's okay, is not only is the architect 1919 group, but we have a major general contractor who's built, Lagunitas Brewery. So, we have this is a big developer that's coming in to do this. So that was simply to kind of communicate that we're putting a dispensary in that area that is not representative of the building. The project manager lives on the north side of Brookfield. Ryan Baker, we're trying to hire locally, but this is a big developer that's coming in to do this. That is not the building. And now I'm feeling terrible that I put that building up, because it is not representative of any plans, particular plans of what we're doing. It's just, you're just at a step in the process before we get you the MEPs and all that
And it
stuff.
sounds like we have no opinion about that.
Oh,
anyway,
sorry.
so-
I don't even know the process. We're just kind of here to say, we'd like to put the dispensary here, and we're going to invest a good deal of money in this community to do it, and we're about to go. If you guys choose to approve this tomorrow, we start some pretty major meetings with the architects and the MEPs. Even though we have engaged the architect and spent money doing that, until you say yes, we didn't jump into any MEPs yet, is really what's going on.
And Commissioner Miller, if I can jump in, as you all are aware, you are an advisory board that can certainly give certain recommendations. And within those recommendations, you can recommend certain design standards if there's specific ones that you would like to take to the board, that the board can consider at the next June 8th meeting. So it doesn't preclude you from including any additional ones, certainly, and we've been very transparent with Tanya in terms of design standards and landscaping, and this is one of the first bigger developments on Ogden, so the intent is to make it look as beautiful as possible. So since you are the advisory recommending body for that, you certainly can add those recommendations on there.
And I would love them, by the way.
And
We're open.
I respect the architects that are on our commission, and, what their recommendations would be. I have a question. I'm guessing that you probably did a market analysis of this location and compared to the location on 31st Street, that this is probably a better
Significantly.
location.
Just traffic, everything, the, the access, the neighbor, we're not adversely affecting the neighborhood, which is behind, which was a big problem. So this is by far a better location. Yes.
There's a traffic signal right at that intersection.
Yes, it's by far better, yes.
And I think because the site plan here is lacking, I mean, there's
Right.
no two ways about this. I remember very specifically going through the Sherwin-Williams site development as a village trustee, and the level of oversight and overview of a village-owned property transferring potentially to a redevelopment of a paint store had far more standards, discussions, requirements, and maybe those will come, but it is just really interesting to me how different those two are at this point. With that being said, there is impact on adjoining properties in that you have a public alley that adjoins in the back, which could allow for exit onto Du Bois rather than back onto Ogden. Do you have any, and again, the site plan is lacking, do you have any thoughts on what that would look like, what you would do? A few doors down at the Sherwin-Williams site,
Yeah.
it was conditional that they could not exit into the alley, that it had to go to the two, either back onto Ogden or to the lighted East Avenue
Right.
exit. I see this as very, very similar, especially with the amount of traffic. And again, I'm not one that thinks a lot of traffic will go to this in
Right.
the way people think, but you can have access out and on to Ogden rather than turning it back onto Du Bois, which you could currently do with an alley. Any thoughts?
The first and foremost thought is our plan is to work hand in hand with the village to do what they want, is the truth of the matter. So if the egress and the way we want traffic to move is that, that is what we're gonna do. That's the real answer.
Thank you.
Other questions of the petitioner at this point? All right, hearing none, we'll hold you in reserve and we'll turn it over to staff for their presentation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not working? Well, I'll just talk. So, we've already talked a bunch. So, as you know, the village owns this property. It's about a 14,500 square foot building. As they have it shown to you tonight in this preliminary drawing, the building stays the same. The parking lot is striped and so forth. The code requires about 8 cars for the size of this building for retail use. This design development drawing has 18 spaces, so more than enough. It does include the required loading zone, which we usually grant variations not to have, but we have one here. And we have an enclosed trash dumpster here, which is an amenity. The special use situation under our code has 3 review standards. They're in your packet. The petitioner submitted responses to those 3 review criteria. We think they've met the burden of proof on those 3 criteria, and we recommend that the PZC recommend approval of the special use permit, understanding that, the redevelopment agreement and all that will follow with the Village Board of Trustees.
Questions to staff? All right, I'll open it up to public.
I'm sorry, I do. I just wanted to not be the first or the only.
Why not?
So with this, and again, some maybe new information, or maybe I was not diligent in reading my packet about the future redevelopment, but for this particular site, when would property transfer occur between the group and the village, and conditions on transfer?
When we go through the entitlement process through the redevelopment agreement, so it would have to be drafted, agreed upon, and then it would go to the board for preliminary approval or discussion for it. it wouldn't transfer until all of that has been ironed out, and then we're gonna go through the full entitlement process for title to actually be transferred over. So all of the details of the transfer, including, you know, submitting it for bids and the TIF and TIF incentives that are part of this, not part of this discussion, but part of the discussion that the board will be having, are going to be all in the redevelopment agreement.
I just want to make sure I have all my questions for staff. That's it for staff.
Other questions to staff at this point? All right, open the floor to public comment. Sir, the floor is yours. Please state your name and address.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Emmanuel Krathenansis. I live at 4017 Dubois Boulevard. Literally, I can throw a baseball at that property. I don't want this here. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I already have massive nuisance from people coming from the currency exchange throwing their blunt wrappers on my lawn. I get black and mild wrappers constantly. I have to clean up on their way to go work at the sugar factory or to take the train. With the train there, I think it's going to be bringing more nuisance people throwing garbage in my lawn. I don't want a dispensary that I can see right from my window. I already have the music late at night from the brewery, which I don't complain about, but I'm not happy about it. I already have the music from the Mexican restaurant. It all goes past 10 o'clock, and I know it's supposed to stop at 10. Every time I drive by a dispensary, I hear music there too. So I'm not going to have rock at the dispensary, possibly rock at the brewery, possibly dance music at the dispensary, and Latin music at the Mexican restaurant going till late at night. When I drive past dispensaries on Ogden further down, I believe it's Westmont over by the Tesla dealership, I've often driven behind cars that smell like weed. I don't want people smoking weed driving up and down my street. I don't want people smoking weed in my lawn. I don't want this in my neighborhood, on my block, literally 2 houses from my house. I just don't want it there. I've been here 10 years. My family's been here 10 years. Everyone that lives on my block, I love them. I love my neighborhood. I love my village. And I have no problems. I don't call the police on anything. I'm fine with everything. I don't cause any nuisance. I take care of my property. I feel I'm a very good resident of Brookfield, and this feels like it's infringing on my happiness, on my life, on what I feel is my rights. You know, I came to this village. There was no gambling. There was no prostitution. There was no weed here. 10 years later, there's 2 really creepy massage places, and thank you for getting rid of those. I can't thank you enough for that. I'm happy those are gone. I got vape shops. I've got gambling up and down. This isn't really what I want, but I'm living with it because this is my home, and I do love it. I don't want to move. You know, I want to stay here. I feel it's my home. When I came to this country, I remember coming to Chicago. We went to the Brookfield Zoo. I was young, and I thought Brookfield was like this affluent, like super, like incredibly rich place. It was in my mind that way because I came from a more poor background. I now realize it's you know, middle class, and I'm middle class. But I thought this is a good place to start a family, and I'm really happy I got to come here. And it's going a different direction, and I'm really not happy about the direction Brookfield is going in. This is not knocking the petitioners here. She seems like a lovely lady. I've actually researched her, and she's pretty great. She does great animal rescue things. These are nice people, and I don't believe they're coming to harm me, but I do believe this is going to harm me. And that's the statement I want to make. I do intend on, if this goes forward, if you do grant this, I'm going to be launching a campaign online with multiple petitions to try to stop it. I'll probably not win. I'm expecting this to happen, but I'm not happy about it, and I want to voice that. I want to be on record voicing that. And I'm going to do everything I can to stop it. Everything I can. Within the law, of course. That's all. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have one more that was put on my desk, public comment. It was received in Brookfield on May 28th, but there's no author and nothing else. And it says, I've lived in Brookfield for 52 years. This used to be a good family suburb, but a lot of families are moving out because a lot of companies want to put cannabis dispensaries in our town. I'm against it as there will be more traffic on Ogden. I vote no for cannabis anywhere in Brookfield. It was voted no on 31st Street. I vote no for cannabis in our town on Ogden. How would you like it near your house? Any other public comment? I have to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. I swear the testimony I'm about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Come to the mic and state your name and address again, and we will listen.
My name is Kathy Hand, and I live at 8914 Plainfield Road in Brookfield. And my question has to do with the unfinished building at the corner of Ogden and Prairie. Originally, we had heard that that was going to be a dispensary, but it's been unfinished for some time now. And I was wondering what the status of that is and if it's still planned to be a dispensary.
Okay, so this is a public comment session specific to this
Right,
petition.
but my question is, would we need two dispensaries in Brookfield?
We
then,
don't know
on
the
Ogden?
answer to that, so I think it would be best if you direct your comments directly to
Okay,
staff.
all right, that's fine. Thank you.
Yep. Any other public comment? Petitioner, time for rebuttal if you wish. If you wish.
No rebuttal.
Okay. Any other questions of staff at this point? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open discussion to the commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Sabon.
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber. Aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. All right, I have a question. I hope this doesn't go out of order, because it's directed to staff. I probably should have asked it before. I'm hearing this redevelopment agreement. Is the cannabis, is the dispensary part and parcel to the redevelopment agreement? Is it a standalone thing? Will it happen if the redevelopment agreement doesn't occur? Because obviously we have no knowledge of this redevelopment agreement.
Certainly. So the redevelopment agreement doesn't happen unless the special use permit is granted, so they are hand in hand. The developer is building and redeveloping that for a specific end user, in this case tied to this specific retailer for the cannabis dispensary. So the first part is the special use, because if it's a no to that, then there is no redevelopment agreement. If it is, then we go to the redevelopment phase, which there have been some preliminary discussions about that. And that's when all the redevelopment items are worked out in terms of conveyance and title, and there's incentives and so forth.
All right, so to make it perfectly clear to me, the redevelopment agreement is for this property only.
Correct.
Okay.
Only for this one, yes.
Thank you, that helps a lot. Commissioner discussion continues. Go ahead.
Hello. I voted yes for the special use on 31st Street. I think this is an even better location for this use. I'm glad to see that that building that is currently in this location would be improved with this process, and also it sounds like maybe other things to come if this is approved.
Based on what was said earlier, I do hope that what we had discussed in regards to the improvement in the elevations is brought forth to staff to work into the redevelopment agreement.
Go ahead, Todd.
Sure. I'm in favor of this. The proposed location is desirable. I think it's convenient. And it also, the use provides a service to the welfare of the community.
I would just make a note that this is currently the only site that is up for approval or has approval for this special use on Ogden Avenue. Am I correct in that, as the other location lost that through
Revocation, correct.
revocation? So this
Correct.
is the only site on Ogden.
And there are no other pending applications.
Correct. And all pending applications would again have to come in front of this board and the village board to contemplate those sites. And as I contemplate this site, I think something that rings in my ears over and over again from years of working on redeveloping this site is how critical this corner was to redevelopment for anything that had frontage to go back, any commercial site. And in looking at this specific site and taking the entire frontage for this, while I understand there is a potential redevelopment agreement that may come, have there been developers that have explored and known that the village now owns this corner, where that was a barrier prior to redevelopment?
That's an excellent question, and we've been asked that several times. So the village did do land assembly and acquisition of all three parcels, 9500, 9509 Burlington, and 4011 Blanchard, for the purpose of general redevelopment. Since then, in the last, 16 months, we have spoken to several developers that are interested in doing development at the Congress Park site, not interested necessarily in retail development. So the developers we've spoken to, and this current developer is also interested in other developments, but it would be multifamily, exclusive of the 9500 corner, which is for retail. So originally, the whole parcel was purchased by the village with the intent, as part of the comprehensive plan, to develop the whole thing, whether one person came through and did multifamily with commercial, mixed use, so forth. There has been there's been no interest in developing it with retail. So that's why when this came about, that this separate redevelopment was up for grabs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other comments, discussions? Jennifer?
I'm here to listen to what you guys say.
Okay, well, you're always welcome to chat with us.
Well, in this case, I want to take your recommendations to the board.
I think no access to Bois is important via the alley, but that may come just through the natural redevelopment of the entire site, and public property transferring for redevelopment. The landscaping around is critical, as other people said. An entire rework of the entire building is probably needed, but the architects definitely know that better than I do. But the site is why there already was one location approved on Ogden. It is our most traveled corridor. It will bring what we were looking for as far as access to a ample parking lot and access directly back onto Ogden, which was conditional on the other site, if we remember that. So it meets a lot of the requirements that we were looking for on other properties already. And knowing on my end kind of where the developers' minds are, that's important for me, because this is critical to the redevelopment of the rear portion, which is now envisioned as multifamily anyhow. So I would be in support.
And redevelopment may require some redevelopment of that alley. I'm
Or
uncertain of the
elimination.
existing condition of the alley, to be honest, but.
Anything else? Well, I guess this is our opportunity to offer, there's 5 conditions listed in staff's report. So I guess this is our opportunity, right or wrong, to write down any other conditions. I've heard improvement of the exterior facade. What was the last one?
Do we want to specifically state on the east, maybe all 4 facades? All 4 sides?
I would just say leave it improvement of exterior facade, and that's all of them. You know, I don't want to overstep our bounds either, but,
Right.
you know, this is our chance to offer some conditions, and I think staff's hearing us loud and clear, the petitioner's hearing us loud and clear. And, you know, the hope would be that this is a keynote opportunity here. So, it would behoove the petitioner to not screw it up, and it doesn't sound like you're gonna. So, but, and then, what do we wanna say about the alley or Dubois, or do we wanna say anything?
I think no access to the alley, which then immediately precludes access
Or-
to, if a paint store has that, I don't know how that doesn't apply to a higher use.
And I can confirm the paint store doesn't have it, cause you can't get out that alley.
So if we only allow an exit off the property onto Ogden, and a person wants to make a left turn
Yep,
heading
it's a
eastbound,
problem.
that could
That's
be
a
a
good point.
problem. Maybe we can make the alley one-way eastbound, and as you exit the alley, right turn only to Ogden.
Well
So you
thought
have
out.
nobody going into the neighborhood.
I would agree, that's well
And make
thought
for
out.
an easier eastbound traveler.
So we could say alley access, no alley access to Dubois.
Again, just going back historically, if we think to the AutoZone redevelopment on Ogden Avenue, it was their responsibility to improve that alley to a permeable concrete, because now you are directing traffic through. I would leave that to the village board, but
But
we shouldn't use precedent, but-
Here's my opinion. I think, we've heard one, member of the community say doesn't want it, and he lives on Dubois. So I think I would think the village board would be amenable to not putting any more traffic on Dubois as an exit. So I think, but I think alley access, based on your point, is important, because you're not gonna go out on Ogden and make a left turn. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yes and no. I mean, you have Dunkin' Donuts on the corner of Maple and Ogden, and there's left turns, and
Yeah.
it is
And it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Right.
And so, closer to the bridge, closer to East Avenue, you might, and with backups there, you may see that, and that is, to Mark's point, probably Commissioner Weber's point, more than likely why Sherwin-Williams exits, their main exit goes to the light to
Right.
allow for that
Right.
left and right turn, which you,
So this alley goes westbound, does it go all the way to that same street? No.
it goes behind Imperial.
Fine, so it's that street. So you could go down the alley westbound, and then what is that?
Blanch-
Was that Blanchard?
Blanchard. And then you could turn left on Blanchard and then go wherever.
But does it connect to Blanchard?
I don't
Because
know.
Douglas Auto
It's-
Body
it's-
is there.
Right.
There's no.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hear Chairman Grund for sure, and I'm trying to figure out how not to turn that, traffic out onto Dubois.
Well,
But-
again, we're advisory. We can only make a recommendation, and staff and the board's gonna, ultimately decide. So I think the best, if we wanna avoid traffic on Dubois, then we just say, no alley access east to Dubois.
Right.
I'm guessing this is just one piece of the bigger picture.
Yep.
And eventually, when the redevelopment is planned, the traffic pattern
Yep.
is going to involve the whole development. And
And
I'm assuming that
you're right. I mean,
the
the alley
appropriate,
could be vacated at some point.
right.
And, maybe they go out all the way north somewhere.
Mhm.
I don't know. Somebody else figure it out. What do you wanna do?
I was just saying, I just brought redevelopment of the alley without any specificities when it comes to the redevelopment of the property. As Commissioner Miller said, it may come out in the wash, so to speak,
Mhm.
with the development of
So
the
you wanna stay
project.
silent on the alley?
I'll stay silent on the alley. I think the village has heard, staff has heard, there's people that, and not just for the alley, I understand, that are opposed to the project, and you need to work with the community, you need to work within that redevelopment, that a larger project was always envisioned for that area, and so it will inevitably change the traffic patterns, the feel of that area, and it's due diligence on the village's part to put together a plan that best works.
There was preliminary discussion with some of the developers that discussed vacating the alley, which that was very preliminary depending on what ends up being there. So that's definitely on the radar.
Okay.
If I could just ask one. I
You
have
sure can.
One more question, just on and for a matter of order, the public notice submitted subsequently in advance of the public meeting, adjacent properties with 250 feet must be notified by mail. I didn't see that necessarily in the packet. We have that, is that correct?
Yeah, we have the affidavit from Tanya. Yes, okay.
Any other comments, commissioners? All right, I'm gonna take a shot at this. And I'm gonna summarize. I'm not gonna read every one of the 5 points. So I'll entertain a motion at this time to recommend approval for the special use permit under 62-25 requested under Planning and Zoning Case 2607 to allow a cannabis dispensary in an existing SA-3 district at 9500 Ogden Avenue, subject to the following conditions. They state the hours of operation being Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. A special use permit is granted to the prolific dispensary. Any change to ownership will require an amendment to the special use permit.
I think that, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a typo. It should be to the IC Collective. Thank you. I get the name wrong. IC Collective.
IC Collective, all right.
The corporation is IC Brookfield.
IC Brookfield. All right. So strike prolific dispensary and it's IC Brookfield. All right. Number 3, it just has to do with the time. They have 6 months to get their act together. And again, you can read the specifics if you so wish, but it's way too much for me to read. Should the special use be discontinued for 6 consecutive months, regardless of any interest to resume or not to abandon such special use shall not thereafter be reestablished or resumed. So again, they have a time period. The property shall be developed in substantial compliance with plans submitted with the application, and we've heard all of our comments concerning that. And then our condition number 6 would be improvement of the exterior facade.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Commissioner Saborn?
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda?
Aye.
Commissioner Strata?
Aye.
Commissioner Weber? Aye. Chairman Grunt?
Aye. That completes our 4 cases. We have other business, we have a department update from staff.
Only for the zoning code, our next zoning code meeting, the 4th seems to work for almost all of you, with the exception of Commissioner Weber. So that would be at 6 o'clock on Thursday. And I apologize for the inconvenience for the last zoning code meeting, but next Thursday, June 4th.
And that's specific to parking
It's-
only.
Right, that's the last
Perfect.
item.
6 p.m. Everybody get that?
Yep.
If I could add, so.
You sure can.
You've got the memo. I have a printed memos on the new parking regulation.
Oh, perfect. I'll take
We
one.
sent it, and I was trying like the Dickens to get the, what's it called, the interactive people over parking map, the link to be, I haven't got it it works on our computer, I just can't send it to you guys yet. So, we're trying on that, so.
Can you
Okay.
turn it into a link and
That's
send
what I
it
was
to us?
trying to do, she can do it, I couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, we did, they sent us a link that we're gonna try to forward over to you, because it's too hard to print it, so we'll send you the link so you can type it in there and take a look at the exact parameters for the people who are parking.
Thank you.
I'll backtrack and say the cannabis meeting at the village board level will be June 8th. So if you'd like to share your comments at that meeting, that's a good forum to do so. Yep. Any other staff updates?
I have a question about, can you give us a status of the restaurant on Maple?
Oh, in 8 Corners?
Yes.
They are working with engineering. They should be getting us hopefully plans in the next couple of weeks. We did have a preliminary meeting with them 2 weeks ago to discuss some of the, some of the building code items that were needed. they needed to work with the engineer first to make some of the additional updates to the renderings, so it's moving along.
Okay.
Yeah, it's moving along.
Great. Anything else? I'll have a motion to adjourn the P and Z meeting for May 28th, 2026 at 8:50 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Commissioner Sayborn?
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda?
Aye.
Commissioner Straka?
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund?
Aye. Thanks for everybody's patience. Thanks for full attendance at the board meeting, at the commission meeting tonight. It was good. Have a good rest of the evening, everyone.
What do you want? I'll give it to you. This is gonna be great.
No problem. We'll get it. And then it gets done, and you're like, what the fuck? Sorry. No, that happens more times than not, right? That's the reality of it.
How about that? Agatha Christie's fifth, you did. Oh.